Thank you very much, Neil, for getting us set up this evening. And thank you to the candidates who are here today and the folks in the audience and those listening on Zoom and watching from the comfort of your homes. And thank you for taking an interest in this contested race for town office. And thank you all, lastly, to the Hopkinton Rotary Club for sponsoring this year's candidate forum. Rotary is a service organization that seeks diverse membership of community members that live and work in the greater Hopkinton area and are eager to provide service in a variety of ways locally, nationally, and internationally. My name is James Newsome, and I'll be moderating tonight's forum. The format of the forum will be for each candidate to make an opening statement, then answer a few questions that I received throughout this last week from town residents, and then I will ask that the candidates not engage with each other. Following the questions, I will offer the candidates an opportunity to make a quick closing statement. The one contested race this year is for supervisors of the checklist, which is a 6-year term, and our candidates are Lynn Clark and Robert Wardell. Welcome. So do either of you want to go first for opening statements? Pardon?
Ladies first.
Lynn, opening statement, you're up.
Okay. A little closer. How's that? Okay. I'd like to thank the Rotary for organizing candidates forum, as they usually do. For those of you who don't know me, Lynn Clark, I recently retired director of the Warner Historical Society, and I had a decades-long career working in museums, including as director of the Mount Kearsarge Indian Museum. I worked here in Hopkinton at the Historical Society part-time. And I worked in membership and collections at the New Hampshire Historical Society. I began helping in town elections around 2016, I believe it was, because I felt it was time for me to give back to my town. And I saw there were important positions where help was needed, and I had a skill set that would be applicable. I worked first as a ballot clerk. And I'd like to say for everyone listening, the town always needs ballot clerks. So you can sign up too. Then for the past couple of years, I've worked with the supervisors of the checklist. So I have experience registering voters on election day. But that's just the tip of the iceberg of what the supervisors do. I was asked on 2 occasions to help on the day after election, where I got just a little taste of all the work they do with data entry and reporting to the state. That takes days after an election. I'm aware that the supervisors have regular public meetings between elections where they register voters who are new or new to town and do things like help them switch parties. I'm also aware that the supervisors have additional work days between elections to keep the checklist up to date. And I know that the supervisors need to know about changes to the voting laws and receive training in that. So I believe I have the administrative, organizational, and computer skills necessary for this position. The skill set I developed managing membership databases is equivalent to the skill set required to manage the voter checklist. Such as updating names and addresses, removing deceased members, and those who no longer reside in town. I have the necessary computer skills to carry out this work. My experience with computers began back in high school in the 70s, working with punch cards. And since then, I've kept abreast of, the latest in software developments, and I've used many different types of softwares and databases, and I'm confident that I would have no trouble learning the new state system that the supervisors will be using. I enjoy working with the supervisors. I have a good understanding of what the job entails, have the necessary skills for the position, and now that I'm fully retired, I have the time to devote to this important office.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, the sun is in my eyes.
It's the sun over there.
Yeah.
We're not used to the sun shining, so.
Okay. I'm Robert Wardell. I used to live on South Road for 28 years in Hopkinton, and then I moved to the Meadows, where I lived for 4 years. my political career, I guess if you want to call it, I started, I lived in Canterbury and I ran for the planning board over there. And I didn't think I had much of a chance, but somehow the clerk called me up that night and she said, "Bob, you won." And I even beat the chairman of the planning board, and I was totally shocked. So I had to move from that position out of town. So, but I haven't been involved locally that much as she is. She's, you're an old pro compared to me. I decided to get back into the local scenery, giving back to the town, as she said. So I'll be this past January, I was a greeter, and I'll be a greeter again this coming Tuesday. I am an assistant, or actually the vice chairman of the Slusher Center Board of Directors. I guess most of you probably know my son's painting business has been doing a lot of work around town in the last 18 years. He married into the Babson family. Probably a lot of you know the Babsons. So in terms of qualifications, I admit I didn't really know a whole lot about what it was. I know there's some concern national-wide, not necessarily New Hampshire-wise, about making sure that the roles are clear of the people who are no longer living. But I did know after I went to a work session for the committee last Monday and got a little idea of what they were doing. So I know it's keeping track of people moving in and out as well as removal of people who are no longer living. I mean, I think I am well qualified in terms of I do have a computer at home. I'm pretty well equipped with knowing what's going on with that, and I have a master's degree, so I mean I have some intellect. So I don't know if you have any questions. Feel free to ask.
Thank you very much. I think the first question gets a little background, and then I think actually you probably addressed a lot of the answer already, but I'll ask it and we'll see where it goes from there. The position of supervisor to the checklist involves many more hours and tasks than just sitting at a table on election day, greeting and registering new voters. It involves working up to a week after each election, recording data on the computer in a statewide voter database, and reconciling the ballots cast for many days before and between elections, keeping the databases up to date. This is very detailed work and includes having access to confidential information that is in the voter database. Please explain what your qualifications are for this crucial position. And I know that you both in your opening statements laid out a lot of those qualifications, but if there's anything else you'd like to add at this point.
We're looking at each other.
That's typically how these go.
Did you want to say?
Yeah.
Anything?
Do you want to start first, or?
You can go. I started first last time. You can go.
Well, we're both retired, so we've got plenty of time. So hopefully we can push aside our priorities of, I have other things that I do in my life. I enjoy my life as it is, but I just think that, I've been asked by people would I run for representative in town, and I thought about it, but I had a hearing disability, and so I've gone to testify on behalf of certain issues at the legislative office building and so forth, and I just don't feel that it's an awkward situation for me, and so, but attending the workshop that they had this past Monday, I feel like it's something that I can be attentive to. Fine deal to work, and I'm familiar with computers and working with data and so forth. So I don't know what more I can say on that.
So yes, I did lay out a lot of why I thought I was qualified to handle the data. So the privacy issue, besides working in museums, you do work when you're doing with membership, you do work with people's credit card information, which you have to protect. But I also worked in doctor's offices as I was working my way through graduate school, and that you really have to protect people's privacy with that. So, but otherwise, lots of detail oriented work with collections and membership.
Great, thank you. Do you think that our Hopkinton elections are running smoothly and fairly? If so, how would you contribute to continued success? If not, what would you change?
For the years that I've been working, I see them as running very smoothly and fairly. And I have been working at them since 2016. So again, if I were on the supervisor, the checklist position, would contribute by making sure the checklist, keeping that up to date and keeping abreast of any changes in the voter laws that would need to be implemented.
Robert?
Well, I've got a good grasp of what's been going on since I helped working at the primaries in January, and I think between Christine and Sarah, they do a wonderful job. My only issue with the elections, and this is not particularly with Hopkinton, I have no problem with it, but I am against election voting machines. And national wide has been quite an issue, and I'm going to be presenting that at the town meeting. The Board of Selectmen have approved the purchase of a new machine because our old one is dated 1980 something, and so it's quite antiquated. And so the problem is, among other things, as I will present at the town meeting, is that there is a lawsuit from Daniel Richards, and you're probably not familiar with him, but he's a well-respected person who is quite up in legal affairs, and he has actually made a lawsuit against Governor Sununu in trying to get rid of the machines. And the Supreme Court, I was there, reviewed it, and it's still in the hands of the justices. So it's unknown at this point. The problem is, if you buy a machine and this lawsuit is upheld, then our machine is toast. So I'm hoping that we don't go through buying a machine when this lawsuit is still in litigation. So that's I don't have any problem, but it's probably our town is fine with the voting machines. I don't know. It's just national wide is an issue, and I'd like to everything be kind of streamlined across the country, so you don't have one state, one city doing one thing and the other doing another, and that is problematic to me. I just like to be able to go in, present my ballot, and know it's going to be faithfully counted, and it probably is, but it's nice to know that for sure. So that's my only issue with the voting is present.
Great, thank you very much. And actually, those were the two questions we got online in advance. So we're going to move right along to closing statements. Robert, would you like to start us off with that?
With what?
Closing statements. There are no more, we didn't receive any more questions.
Like a concluding remark.
I'm hard of hearing, so I'm having a difficulty now.
Do you have anything you'd like to say? in
Oh, no.
closing?
I'm fine. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm very short. Closing. Voting is our duty. Ensuring that our elections run smoothly is therefore an essential civic responsibility. I look forward to the opportunity to use my experience and skills to take on this responsibility.
Thank you very much. And with that, thank you very much to both of you for stepping up to serve, and to Hopkinton Rotary for sponsoring, and to everybody watching this forum today. As a reminder, voting is at the middle high school on Tuesday, March 12th from 7 to 7. The town meeting business session is on Thursday, March 21st at 6 p.m. in the middle high school gym. With that, thank you very much and good night.